Hello everyone and welcome to another Star Wars figure review. Today we're going to continue to take a look at some characters from Star Wars The Force Awakens, and in this next video we're going to take a look at some more figures from the Disney Store exclusive range of Elite Series diecast figures. Next up today I'm going to give you a look at one of the heroes from The Force Awakens, and that is of course none other than this one. This is the Desert Scavenger, played by Daisy Ridley, known as Rey. This is a really cool figure. I have read some negative reviews about this one online, but I've got to say I disagree with every single one of them, and I'll talk about why that is in just a little bit. What I really want to touch base on before we get into the in-depth of this review is that not only do we get Rey with this particular Elite Series figure, but we also get the droid counterpart known as BB-8 as well. So this in many ways is an action figure 2-pack. It's very cool indeed. I can't wait to share this one with you in more detail. So before we get into the nitty gritty of this review, as always we are going to take a look at the packaging that this one comes in. Now once again, I really do like the design of the Elite Series packaging. As you can see at the top there we have the Disney Store logo itself, accompanied by the diecast sticker on the front of the window. And then just below that we have the Elite Series logo, finished off really nicely with this metallic red trim that runs all around the edge of the box. On the reverse side we have the Elite Series logo once again, as well as a brief bit of information about the Elite Series itself, and a couple of bios for both Rey and BB-8 just below that. As I touched base on in my Elite Series Kylo Ren review, the price of these figures is absolutely superb as well. As you can see labelled at the bottom there, each of these figures in the UK retails for $18.95, which again is a couple of pounds cheaper than the Black Series 6-inch line from Hasbro. And in terms of overall quality, value for money, and just, overall awesomeness, this is the line to collect. With Rey in particular, the accessories that she comes with far outweigh the Black Series 6-inch release, and I'll talk about all of those in just a little bit. So there is the packaging that this figure comes in. As I showed you in my Kylo Ren review as well, we do of course get a display stand with this figure, which is a very welcome addition. Again, these figures are made of die-cast metal, they are rather heavy, and they do have a tendency to lean forward and fall over. So the display stands are welcome additions, necessities, and it's really nice to see them included with these figures. So kudos to Disney for that. So on to the figures themselves, and we'll begin by taking a look at Rey. Now, as I said at the beginning of the review, I have read a few negative reports about this one online, and again, I do disagree with each and every one of them. The first negative aspect that I've read about with this figure is the face, which, as you can see, does sort of have this porcelain doll look to it. The paint applications in many ways are perfect, if that can be considered a negative aspect. Really nice and crisp paint applications there on the face, give it this sort of perfect look. Again, sort of a porcelain doll appearance. For me personally, I think it looks great. It really captures the likeness of Daisy Ridley really well. She's got this very stern and determined expression on her face. Again, the likeness is dead on in my opinion, and in many ways it's far superior to the Black Series 6-inch release from Hasbro again. I'll compare the two head sculpts in a future review, but yeah, I think this is definitely the better one. And I really don't think that this one deserves some of those comments that it's received online. Again, the likeness is really cool, dead on in my opinion to Daisy Ridley, so no complaints there whatsoever. One thing I did want to point out is that I do think this one looks a little bit like Lara Croft from the Tomb Raider video games. Again, that's not a negative aspect by any means. It gives her that action heroine type of look, and again she's got this really cool expression on her face which just looks like she means business, which is awesome. As for the rest of the figure, the sculpt is fantastic. Again, like with Kylo Ren, the outfit is captured really well. You've got a nice weathered look to these desert robes, again making her look like she's been through the wars, scavenging around through the Star Destroyer interiors that we see in the trailers and all that sort of stuff. As you can see, she does have the belt attached to the waist there with some pouches at the back. There's soft plastic robes once again on the lower portion of the figure. Got a couple of rather, I'll not say fashionable boots, but they look handcrafted, as though she's put this ensemble together herself. which you would imagine living alone in the desert world of Jakku. Accessory wise, Rey is, off the chain. Not only does she come with her trademark staff that we've seen her use all too often in those Force Awakens trailers, and again this is sculpted really nicely, but she also comes with the blaster pistol that we see given to her by Han Solo in one of the recent Force Awakens TV spots. So it'll be really cool to see how she handles a blaster in the film, although from what we've seen in trailers, where she does indeed seem to have a confrontation with Kylo Ren, she's a pretty good aim, and if it wasn't for that crossguard lightsaber, I think Kylo Ren would have a problem on his hands if Rey was firing at him. So again, it'll be interesting to see not only how she handles a blaster in the film, but also that confrontation between the two characters. In addition to those, we also get a removable backpack, which as you can see is placed on the figure itself. These straps can be plugged in at the back there, so you can remove it if you wish. And as you can see, you've got some great detail there on the backpack itself. This is an accessory that was included with the 3 3/4 inch release from Hasbro, but was left out of the 6-inch Black Series version. So again, accessory wise, this figure far outweighs the Black Series release of Rey. As you can see on the backpack itself, we've got these silver canisters and water bottles. You've got buckles and pouches there as well. All these other utensils sculpted into the backpack. Really nice looking all around. Great detail and a great accessory to have. Now, as I said, the other negative aspect of this figure that I've read about online is the fact that so many of these screws are visible in the figure's back. Now, obviously being made from die-cast metal, the figure has to be held together somehow, and I do agree that these would have been nice if they'd have been covered up. There's no reason why a small plastic plug couldn't have been used to cover those screws up, but for me personally, it's not a major issue. If you focus in on them and get really close up, they do stand out like a sore thumb, but at a glance and from a distance, they're really not noticeable and they don't look too bad at all. With most of these figures, those screws are visible, although obviously with Kylo Ren and figures like Captain Phasma, the capes and robes tend to cover those up. So with each figure, it's not a major issue. It's just with figures such as this, where you can see them, that I noticed this has turned a lot of people off. But again, for me personally, it's not a major issue. Doesn't stand out too much, and by no means is it a deal breaker to sway me from this figure. Now, in terms of articulation, again, Rey comes with a phenomenal amount for a die-cast metal figure. She features a ball joint at the head. We have hinges at the shoulders and elbows, swivels at the wrists, a swivel at the waist, hinges once again at the hips, and as I mentioned in my Kylo Ren review, these lower robes are made from soft goods plastic. Well, not soft goods plastic, but a rubbery soft plastic, which allows you to get a little bit more posability out of those legs. You also have hinges at the knees and hinges at the ankles as well. So for all intents and purposes, this is a super articulated figure. Again, you can get her in some great poses, and she looks phenomenal. I am really impressed with this one. Now, as I said at the beginning of the review, not only do we get Rey with this Elite Series diecast figure, but we also get the spherical astromech droid known as BB-8, and I'm really happy to have this one in my collection. I'm really impressed with the way that Disney have handled this figure. I love the look. I love how weighty it is. The entire droid is made from die-cast metal, and again, it's really heavy, really weighty, so I wouldn't recommend throwing this at anybody, as you'll do a significant amount of damage. The paint is fantastic as well. As you can see, you've got these really cool orange and silver panels all the way around the spherical aspect of the figure, which just look awesome, very nice, very accurate. And you've got some phenomenal detail on the head as well. Those black and blue sensors at the front there, all those orange and silver strips. Just an awesome looking figure all round. Now, while I do prefer the Elite Series diecast version of BB-8 to the 6-inch release from Hasbro, there are a few negative aspects of this one, and the first is the fact that due to the sheer weight, when you stand BB-8 up on a flat surface, the droid does tend to lean and fall over somewhat. It's very heavy and it does tend to lean, and obviously there's no plug there to stick this one on a display stand, so you've just got to kind of play around with it until it finally stands up. Obviously in my hand it's more balanced, So it does stand upright, but as I said, on a desktop or a table, it does tend to fall over quite a bit. Whereas with the 6-inch release from Hasbro, it's almost sort of a weeble where it balances around like so, it flops and falls, but then eventually it does find the centre of gravity and it stands really nicely. Obviously with the 6-inch release from Hasbro as well, you've got a ball joint located in the spherical part of the droid and in the head, which offers a wide range of movement, whereas with this one we just have a standard swivel, which again isn't great, but for me personally, again, the Elite Series figure is just that much better, purely because it's more in scale with the Rey figure that it's included with. The 6-inch release feels a little bit small, whereas this one has some decent size to it, and again, it feels much more in scale to the actual prop that we see in the film. So really impressed with BB-8. One little bit of trivia I want to share with you guys before I wrap up this review is the fact that for a while now, I've been referring to BB-8 as a he, when in actual fact, BB-8 is a BB she. I didn't realise this until recently, but apparently some article online, I forget the source off the top of my head, but this article did state that BB-8 was a female programmed droid rather than a male, so that will take some getting used to, but it's very cool to see a female droid in the Star Wars universe, and really looking forward to seeing her in action in the film. So all in all, a fantastic duo. BB-8 is fantastic, Rey is phenomenal, and I'm really happy with these two figures, so I highly recommend them. And as always, there is a link down below in the video description where you can pick up this figure for yourself. So as always, I want to thank you for watching this review. Again, a huge thanks goes out to the guys at Disney for providing these Elite Series figures for a review. And thanks to Disney, I'll be giving you a look at some more Disney Store exclusive products in the very near future. So make sure you stay tuned for all of those. Until next time guys, as always, I want to thank you for watching this video. Keep collecting, and until next time, may the Force be with you.